Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. I'm Bobby.
I'm Nick.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Emilio.
And I've been constantly full for about 3 days. Diddy.
It's a constant filling and then emptying. Filling, then emptying. The emptying part's fun. And way cheaper than the filling.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Way cheaper.
I feel like a pretty princess because, like, John's bought all my meals. Mostly not because he's like, let me buy everything. It's because he's always thinking about the next meal, and then he's already on his phone. He was looking up lunch today at dinner last night.
Yep, that's true. That is true.
It was such a good dinner last night, too.
Yeah. That was our second umakase of the weekend.
Did you say umakase, like Uma Thurman? It's
Omakase.
Omakase.
I'm teaching him slowly, Nick. Come on, bear with
It's
me.
okay.
I've been saying it wrong like a dickhead this whole weekend, dude.
Can I have one umakase? They just give you a picture of Uma Thurman with sushi on it.
Don't correct me at the fucking podcast. Correct me at the restaurant when I'm telling the guy. Oh, Jesus.
Jeez.
I'll take it. Omakase.
Well, joining us today is JPDiddy in the studio, one of our longtime community members here visiting us in San Diego.
Let's face it. He's an ambassador at this point. And then we bring it up his name all the time. I bring it up like every episode because he's the only person I game with. He will stay up super late, or I will get up super early, and sometimes the stars align twice a month.
Yeah.
And we'll get 2 hours in.
Well, it's great to be here, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Diddy eventually will become like a correspondent. Like, we'll go to like live events, and it's like, this is Penny Arcade Expo, and wherever the fuck Diddy's at. And Diddy's like, I'm here, Emilio. I'm really fucked up, but I'm here.
It'll be like extreme weather, but it's just pixels hitting on me. It's like, these games are getting out of control.
All right, we should probably mention that for the next 2 weeks, we aren't going to have enough people to do this show. So we've banked some episodes. They're going to be interviews with each of the cast members, and we're going to release 2 every week.
Very cool.
Yeah, no video games, but get to know us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be about an hour and 20 minutes to hour and 30 minutes long for each interview episodes. So
my interview is not that long.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
what I'm saying, it's like 2 40-minute, 2 45-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they're going to be released separately, 2 a day, and each one, is about 40 minutes. And it'll be interesting. I'll have to check the numbers on these ones. See who got the most hits. Popularity contest.
Did they reshoot? Because the first one I heard was 15 minutes. I guess they reshot.
Yeah, that was Nick's. I think they redid that.
Yeah.
It's a practice run.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's talk about some video games on the radar, games that have come to our attention this week. Who wants to kick it off?
I'll do it with Nick's, the Capcom Fighting Collection. I clicked on that, dude, and I was like, this is not worth this money. Not even close.
No,
I didn't think so.
not even close.
Yeah.
10 like Game Boy games. And, like,
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. They're not,
Oh, are they?
Like Darkstalkers is a Game Boy game.
I mean, it was at the arcade, man.
This
was
is
at
par
the
for the
arcade.
course with Capcom. They tend to overcharge, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It also has like 2 puzzle fighter games in it as well.
Yeah.
Which is like the ones where you match like gems and bubble bobble kind of thing.
Right.
But it's not worth $39,
Dude.
dude.
What are you talking about, man?
It's 10 games. 2 of them are puzzle games. 2 of them or 3 of them are Darkstalker games, and the rest are just random Capcom games.
Not even
Like fighting games.
There's not one of these games that I'm like nostalgic about, you know?
No, none of
So
them.
yeah, they're nuts, man. I can't follow them on this one.
This
not
is
even
one thing
close.
that's kind of like a warning for on the radar. Usually we talk about things on the radar because they look cool or they seem cool to us. This is like a warning. Like, stay away until this is like $11.
Or cheaper even.
Well-
That's the best one on there.
Street Fighter 2.
Super. I think it's Hyper. Super Hyper Fighting. No, Street Fighter 2. Yeah, Hyper
says
Street
Hyper.
Fighter 2. That's the one where they sped everything up, and everything just moves
frame
faster.
rates actually are faster.
Yeah,
Not to be confused with the Turbo Edition
right. Which is different.
or the million other Street Fighter editions that were out there.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 2, I think, has
So-
7 editions or something like that.
I got to bring this up because it's been a while since I brought it up. At the local arcade, they started like not just one arcade, but this was a thing that was going around. There was like a mod for Street Fighter 2 that somebody had made, like a chip, and people were putting it in their cabinets. and like everywhere. And they would just fuck the game up in good ways. It was like super fun glitches. So like if you did a dragon punch with Ryu, you'd turn into Blanca and bite a few frames and then go back to the punch, then bite, then punch. Or you could, with Zangief, you could jump up in helicopter and jump up, lariat, it's called, keep doing it over and over. And let's say you went through the screen 4 times upwards, and then you grab somebody in a 360, you would travel 4 times down before you landed, and it would kill them instantly.
That's pretty cool.
All kinds of stuff. Sonic booms. Oh, you could fill the screen with sonic booms. It was weird, man. It was weird. There's a little mini documentary on YouTube about like how it all happened. It's really interesting. But the weirdness is how it got disseminated. Like, who? I guess the game cabinet rental company or the service guy. I guess the service guys were like, yeah, let's do that. Why would they? I gotta watch that little documentary. I'll get back to you. We got a man on the street. John, can you do some research on that?
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
All right. So another overpriced Capcom bundle. What else we got?
Marvel SpiderMan Remastered is coming to PC. When, John? Do you remember?
We
just
July.
clicked on-
July.
July. Yeah.
August
so
or July.
very soon. And this game's been out for like
August.
4 years. I think we were thinking. I don't know for sure, but I've always wanted to play this. It was one of those runaway PlayStation 4 hits. It was this and The Last of Us and God of War. Those were like the top 3, I think, as far as like critically and fan acclaimed. And, you know, we never got our hands on it. I'm not going to rush to get it. This is like a buy on sale. I'm really trying to go back to the whole lab monkey rule of I'm only going to buy this. I'm going to play this right now, which I actually did this week. But yeah, I'm glad, of course, that all these games are coming over from PlayStation. Just fucking stoked. And it's like, it seems to be only the good ones, you know, only the top ones are worth them paying whatever it costs to port, but they're porting them correctly and it's all working out. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fantastic game. I played all the way through it on PS5.
What is, if you know, either one of you guys, the Miles Morales? Is that an entire separate game? Is it a DLC?
It's a separate game, but it's a condensed one. It's shorter.
Okay.
I want to say
Isn't it also blend into the main game kind
I
of as
think
well?
so, yeah, because there's call outs in the SpiderMan Remastered to Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Days?
Nice. Yeah. So I put Hypercharge on mine. I think we've discussed it a little bit before. Like, Emilio, you played it a little bit. I watched the gameplay for quite a bit of this and kind of put it on the radar because it seems like it has the potential to be really great and fun. It's a 4-player co-op, a like first third-person shooter where there's just waves of toys that you're fighting. So it's kind of like a Toy Story shooter game that you can play with your friends and fight stuff. And I mean, it was cute. There were like little details that I loved about it, like when you destroyed like a toy, like pieces would fall and they, you know, like, and they would just kind of fall apart, like as if you really were destroying an actual toy. Which was awesome, but it kind of seems like it's, I mean, obviously with it just being a like wave shooter, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. But right now they have the demo, so you can play it yourself. There's like a PvE campaign, and it seems like there are some really cool and fun things to check out and explore with this game. So I don't know, I put it on my radar, and I'm kind of curious as to playing it myself.
I think there was like some story element or whatever. It was like in the demo or something, and I played it, and it was just like more wave survival with some story in it. Yeah. So John and I played this. The looks of it, I mean,
It's cool.
It looks like Toy Story.
Yeah.
And you're playing as little soldiers, very much akin to that movie. What's that movie?
Small soldiers? Tiny soldiers?
Small soldiers.
Small soldiers,
yeah.
The great thing about this is like usually I do not care about customability or modifying your guy, but this you're actually swapping out arms and heads and like little action figures, and you can make yourself look pretty sweet, but you got to unlock all that stuff. Unfortunately, it's what is it? Form over function. There's just not a ton of game there. I wanted it to work. I wanted it to work pretty bad. I don't know if it's really evolved since last time we bought it. I don't know. Do you think it was in early access?
I
when
think
we
it
played
was. So that was one of our gripes, right? I think it had some immaturity in it. It looked
Yeah.
cool, but there just wasn't a ton to do, and there was not a real motivation to keep playing it. But like, it didn't have bosses or any of that stuff, so they've obviously put a lot of time into it.
Yeah,
So it could be interesting to revisit. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it came out in April 27, 2020, and it's like $16 now. But like I said, there is a demo out there. So yeah, if you played it in the beginning of the early access, definitely would love to hear your opinion on how it's changed now.
Yeah.
In these pictures,
'cause
I'm
it
seeing
looks
things
good.
I never saw. We
Yeah,
never
exactly.
saw. Dinosaurs, garage. Yeah, never saw.
Bosses.
Kitchen,
Yep.
Yeah,
all new.
there's I saw that there's some like characters that you can get to customize where they look like Ryu or like Goku and some.
I
other
did
stuff.
see Goku, or just a second ago. Yeah. So
Did you guys ever play any of those Half-Life levels where they had like miniaturized like layouts like this? And you
Yeah, I
bounced around?
played a lot of those.
Yeah, those were so fun.
Custom maps. Yeah.
for Half Life. Oh, well,
Yeah, they were
for me-
multiplayer maps.
yeah.
Yeah, for me it was Team Fortress Classic. Same
Concept, yep.
Same, yeah. Cool. All right. So Christian. Oh, Christian is
That's me.
John Dake.
Yeah, so I've been playing the crap out of Elden Ring. I've taken a mild break from it. Nick, you'd appreciate this. I'm at Altus Plateau, and I'm like 50 or 60 hours in. I literally just go to a new section, and I map out all the bosses online, and then that's what I start to power through, assuming I like my build. But at any rate, you guys have talked about this before, but Let Me Solo Her is a player that plays online and basically helps people fight Melina. And he comes in via a summon, and he's done it now, I think 2,000 times is what the article says. But long story short is Bandai Namco, just appreciated everything that he's done, and sent him like a legit sword and a care package. It's super awesome.
So that package that they sent him, I believe, is the original press kit from Elden Ring when they showed the game off in Japan.
Oh, really?
Damn.
And I think there's only 400 of them in existence. I know it's a super small amount because there's a guy that does like professional unboxings of those things. He talked about how it costs like $7,000.
Damn.
In case you're
Yeah.
wondering, Nick, that's what I want for my birthday.
Yeah, I'll get the DLG community to
Oh,
find.
I need to get back to you on that message you sent me to Nick. But yeah, how cool is that, dude?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't need to do it.
No.
He probably didn't fucking. He wasn't trying to ask for anything.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
all he does is come in and help people fight Melina, which is an optional boss. Nick, is it the hardest boss in Elden Ring?
A lot of people argue that she's either the hardest boss or Malekith, but it's
Either way, it's up there,
debatable.
right?
It all depends on how
Yeah.
you play and what
Yep.
what kind of class you are.
But
The funniest part about him is that he fights in his underwear with a pot
Exactly.
on his head.
Yeah.
so no armor,
So-
hardest
No
boss,
armor.
2 katanas,
Yep.
and his name is Let Me Solar Her.
Yeah. He just wants to fight her one-on-one
Yep.
for other people and help them beat the boss, basically.
Apparently, there's a new one, like a copycat kind of guy, and his name is Let Me Finger Her.
Oh
And he has
my
a giant.
God.
So there's a weapon in the game that's a giant finger on
Oh,
a
yeah,
bone.
that's right.
And he just hits her once and then just gives up. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. I was following something on Facebook and like that Let Me Solo Her's page or whatever, and he says there's a lot of copycats and like let me date her and let
Yeah.
me finger her and
That's great.
let me die to her and stuff like that. It's pretty funny.
Well, it doesn't really help too because when you join when you do summons, it increases the boss's health pool by a certain amount,
Mhm.
and it's almost double. And when you get 3, it's a little bit less than triple.
Shit.
But like, so if you're getting one of those like fake ones, you're like, fuck.
Fuck. Yeah, you're totally fucked. You can't. Somebody came in, diddled her for you, and now she's
That's
pissed
right.
off.
And what's also funny too is like people go to like Comic Cons and stuff, and then they dress up as the Let Me Solo Her guy. So it's literally a dude in underwear with a pot on his head, walking around with fake swords. It's
Are
pretty
there any
funny.
witches in Elden Ring?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that leads us right into Witchbrook.
Right?
how I did that?
Absolutely. I know. I love that. Nice. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah. Speaking of witches, Witchbrook is a game that I put on my radar that reminded me kind of like a Harvest Moon mixed with like Harry Potter, but witches, more in the witch way that you would imagine of like the pagan kind of stuff. But yeah, it's like a spell, call it a spellbinding social RPG. So you become a new resident witch, and so you can make friends, master spells, and it just, like I said, it reminds me very much of like a Harvest Moon. The graphics look a little bit more like an updated version of like Harvest Moon, but
love the
yes, like
art.
it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And this looks like such a cute and like cool game, and I love that you can just fly around town on a broom and shit, and that's hilarious. Like but yeah, so it seems, like I said, it kind of reminded me of Harry Potter meets Harvest Moon, and so I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
It is, and they put on their release date that it's still brewing, so we don't have a release date yet. But I'm excited for this game. Like, this could be really cool, especially if it comes out on Switch. This would definitely be a game that I would love to
nice.
get on Switch. But if not, I mean, it would be cool. Or the Steam Deck. This would be a great Steam Deck game as well. So hopefully it's compatible. And it was made by the developer Chucklefish. And they seem to have other games like Starbound and Wargrove, but I'm not too familiar with those games personally. But yeah, it seems like they have quite some positive ratings in most of those games. So that's promising.
Starbound was a really popular game. I remember playing actually a lot of that. And Chucklefish has this splash screen at the beginning of their games that just
Very memorable.
it was really creepy. It was a chuckling fish. And it sounded very human-like, and it always used to freak me out every time I'd load up the game and I'd hear that. It sounded like someone was just like someone was in my house chuckling in my ear. It was really creepy. But yeah, Starbound, had a good time with this game.
That looks really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And Warconius is saying that Wargroove is a really good game too. So yeah, that seems very promising.
Yeah, and I think they were the publisher for were they the publisher for Stardew Valley? I want to say they were. But yeah, they've got a good track record. Let me see if that's correct.
That'd be pretty amazing if they did Stardew
It
Valley.
would make sense.
I know that the developer for Stardew Valley was just a one-man show, but the publisher, I don't know if
People talk about
It's gonna be a weird
Wasn't
game to
he-
publish. Like, imagine being like an investor and you're like,
Concerned Ape.
they're just one of you, and then he's describing the game to you, and you're like, oh,
Well,
I don't know about that.
Stardew Valley was developed and published by the same dude.
Yeah,
so he was
but what-
pure solo.
Not really. What happened eventually is that he couldn't do all the work on his own, so he ended up handing it over to a development team, and I think that was Chucklefish, and they're responsible for a lot of the multiplayer and later patches and stuff.
Art stuff.
Oh
yeah.
after he
It
already-
just
yeah.
became, the game became so big that just one person couldn't
Yeah.
do it. But yeah, he did quite a bit of it.
You know what? Not only
Well,
did he do a good job on the game initially, but he did a good job of pivoting when it exploded. You know what I mean? Like getting Chucklefish, making the right decision. They didn't fuck up anything. They started with multiplayer early access, if I remember right. You know?
Yeah. Well, his story was so fascinating because like there's a book out there that's Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and they interview and like talk to him and like you get to hear the whole story of it. And yeah, as far as like I remember it being like he lived very frugally in Seattle and like lived with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend kind of took on the brunt of all the bills and everything while he developed this game, Stardew Valley. And then like released it, but then you're right after it exploded. Yeah, like I didn't remember.
Yeah.
So he must have
Okay, so he's got it in this letter here about so they handled the business and marketing side as well as contracting the localizations, console and mobile ports. Okay, but I thought they did. I know he had some help when it came to the multiplayer stuff, so maybe somebody else.
I think he did have help with multiplayer, but yeah, he really did build, release, and publish that game all by himself. Like I think he said, I think it was like because it wasn't that crazy long. I can't remember if it was 2 or I think it was 5 years.
You know what's funny though? If it was a flop, nobody'd be like, "That was impressive." Same amount of work. If it was a flop, nobody would be like, "Oh my god, he did it on his own." But because it was gigantic, he
Well,
right place, right
It's not like it
time.
just blew up too. Like you could see the work that was put into it.
for sure.
Like a lot of
Yeah,
these
yeah.
games that are just a single developer, they look like shit because they just didn't put that much work into it.
Yeah.
No, he put so much work into it too. And then it was cool because apparently once he got incredibly rich, like he still kept his. I remember them talking about in the book how like he was still driving around this busted ass like 2001 Honda, and like you couldn't even open up the passenger door. Like it doesn't work. And so like he's still doing that even with millions in the bank. Like he was still living that way, and like That's what I meant with like the frugal thing too, because I know that they talked a lot about how he would just kind of live on the couch, like couch surf and stuff like that, essentially, while developing the game.
That's the same thing with Chad worked at Sony, and one of the testers that was testing, he might have moved up by then, but one of the testers stopped coming to work. He was always late, just all this stuff, and they had to let him go because he just wasn't dependable. And yeah, same thing, taking out loans, all this stuff, and because he had a movie project, everybody's got a movie project, and it was Paranormal Activity. That's the guy who worked there.
Wow.
Boom, gigantic dude, like crazy, rags to riches. Bobby, I wanted to bring this up when we brought up the Ninja Turtles. I don't think I did. Have you heard of why Splinter gave all the turtles their weapons that they have? I read this and I was like blown away.
No, but I feel like that was in a movie or one of the
Oh,
episodes
maybe
or something.
maybe they know. Yeah. So I wanted to bring it up because I was like, oh, I don't know why. And then maybe Mila. I'm gonna blame Mila. She threw me off my game. We're never gonna have her on again. Oh, so Raphael is the most hot-headed and violent of the turtles, as he wields Sais, the traditional defensive weapon used for peacekeeping and disarming. This teaches him patience and discipline. Michelangelo is the most scatterbrained and playful of the turtles. He wields nunchucks, a weapon infamous for its complexity and ease for injuring the user. This teaches him focus and not to take combat lightly. Donatello is the most intelligent and tech-savvy of the turtles. He wields a bow, a simple wooden staff. This teaches him creativity and making do with what he has. Leonardo is the most ethical and heroic of the turtles. He wields the katanas, the only bladed weapon of the four, and the most lethal by default. This is to teach him that ultimately, despite his ideals, he may be forced to take life to protect the people. He must never fight battles needlessly.
Pretty cool.
I thought it was pretty dope when I read that.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah. It would have been way better when we were talking about turtles and not Witchbrook, but
All right. Well, that's okay.
Yeah. You like transitioned into talking about Witchbrook and then got mad that we're talking about Witchbrook. What the fuck? All right.
You're like, there's witches in the game?
There's a witch.
no, I'm mad at myself for bringing that up during a Witchbrook.
It's an episode too late. That's
Okay.
okay.
Well, okay. Well,
Call
moving
back.
on from games that are on our radar, we're heading into games on our highlights that we did play. So, there's that.
So that's a thing.
So that's a thing. And also a thing is a plank experience. What is that, Emilio? The Richies Plank experience?
Richies Plank experience. So I've talked about it before on the podcast that I like the VR as a party trick because a lot of people have never experienced VR or they've done it as somebody's phone with cardboard or something like that. They're like, oh yeah, I've tried that, and I was like, no, come over here and try this $3,000 experience because it's a little different than what you've experienced. Generally. So I love it. Like Sam's friend came over and I asked John, I was like, dude, what's your go-to
Show people VR.
The party trick, And he said it's Richie's Plank experience. And this is a $15 game that's not a game, it's an experience, just like it's in the title. And you go up 80 stories and you walk a plank, and you get to fall off that plank or whatever, if you choose to, or you can go back in the elevator. And the cleverest part of this is you can get a plank, which I had a plank, and model in the exact size of that plank, and it'll be in the game in those dimensions. So I, as a semi-seasoned VR player, I was like, no way this is going to scare me because I know it's not real and all this stuff. I've had my moments where I thought, I've fallen over and stuff, that kind of stuff. I thought I was beyond this. I'm stepping on this plank and I am fucking scared. Like fucking scared. Toes curled scared. Like it was rough. And, jumping off wasn't as scary as the initial stepping on the plank and putting myself in danger for no reason. that it was tough. And then there's like some fun stuff that you could do. You could fly around, and there's like some secrets in the game. And I won't talk too much about that, but you can scare the fuck out of people. Not just the plank and the heights and stuff, but there's some other stuff that it's like creepy and stuff. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. Totally worth the $15. I was looking at the reviews. I think it's like 80%. I'm sure that it's like people complaining that it's not a game or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Because
It's just an experience.
Yeah,
kinda
it's just an
thing.
experience.
It looks worth it for the flying around alone, dude.
Yeah, it's a super small city. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I took this game and my VR setup for like a team building exercise into work, and we had people come in and walk the plank, and I had a real plank, and I had a fan off to the side that would hit them just as they walked onto the plank, and we legit had people that just like fell.
Yeah.
Like they just crashed. Like one girl not dislocated, but like hurt her finger and stuff like that. So I'm like having to have me and another person walk side by side with somebody as they're walking a plank 1 inch off the ground just to make sure they don't fall.
Is it team building or team deconstruction, dude? People are falling apart playing.
I think once you get hurt with people, you're just a lot
Right.
closer.
I played with
those. Yeah. So it was more like a trust fall, right? If
Yeah.
you fall off this plank, I'm going to catch you.
So Sam's friend came over, and she's never done VR. And how scared was she, dude?
Yeah, she wouldn't go out on the
She,
plank.
she
wouldn't
wouldn't
move out of the
leave-
elevator.
She wouldn't leave the elevator. And I tried to push her, while she was like an asshole, the push you in the pool kind of guy. Didn't move an inch.
No, she was not moving.
Fucking
Sturdy lady.
sturdy. Yeah.
Do you see this on here where you could be Santa
Yeah, there-
delivering presents to people on Christmas?
Yeah, they had a Christmas thing
What
that they did. Yep, that was pretty
Oh
cool.
my god, that's amazing. Wow, that's cool.
Like how you just throw them at Christmas trees.
Right?
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that great party trick.
Yeah.
Great party trick on top of a great party trick.
Yeah,
That's-
it's a must-have. If you have VR, you've got to have this.
And you
spare
need the
wood
plank. That's where they get you.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you-
yeah.
The
Try
plank,
and
the
get
plank, the game is
Plank is really
$15. The plank.
Yeah, with wood prices these days,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
$75
who
bucks.
$75.
But that's if you really want the Richies Plank experience. That's what you have to get, right?
You gotta go full stop.
A type of
How narrow can this plank be? I wonder if you can get like a tightrope situation going here.
You can set it up with the controllers. That's the super cool thing. Like you set them on the ends and on the width, and it'll measure it. And then in VR, you manipulate it. So literally, I'm like putting the VR headset down, touching with my foot, picking it up to look that I'm, it matches exactly where it is
Oh, that's
in the
cool.
real world with the virtual world. And yeah, you can make it super narrow, super wide, all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool, pretty accurate.
Nice.
That's neat. Something that's not accurate and probably not an experience any of us would want to experience is Maneater. What's that about, Bobby?
Maneater, that is a game about a shark that eats people. So,
Can't say I would want to experience that.
yeah. Well, you play as the shark.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're talking my language. All right.
Yeah, this came out a little
talking
over a
about
year
murdering?
ago from Tripwire Interactive. They're the developer that makes Killing Floor 2,
Yeah.
a game that I love. So I've had my eye on this for a very long time, and it came out on Epic. They gave it away for free on Epic a couple months ago. So I've been meaning to get around and play it, and finally got a chance to this week. It's a good game. It gets a little repetitive. You're a shark that runs around, you eat people, you grow bigger and stronger. You get more abilities. There's a talent tree, but it gets a little repetitive. What's really cool about this game is how they frame this. So in the game, Maneater is kind of like a Deadliest Catch type TV show, reality TV show centered around this Cajun sea captain who hunts sharks. And it's very comical and over the top, obviously. And you play the nemesis, the shark, and the narrator of this fake documentary series is Chris Parnell, former SNL cast member. You all probably know him as Jerry from Rick and Morty. And it's just, there's lots of laughs in there, and it's pretty funny. And you can swim around, munch on people, crash boats, flop up on the land and become a land shark and just flop after somebody and just eat them on the beach and flop back into the water before you run out of oxygen or water, I should say. So, yeah, I mean, there's some good times in here. But, it is, being a single-player campaign, the gameplay itself gets a tad repetitive. It takes place in I like the setting, too. It takes place in it starts out in the Louisiana Bayou and then goes into the Gulf of Mexico. But it's pretty good. Hopefully you grabbed it while it was on free on Epic. If not, they still do have it on Steam, so you can pick it up for $39.99 or whenever it's on sale.
Just based on the pictures, Bobby, where it lost me, or like what I didn't like was these like super sharks. It looks like you have like armor.
Yeah, you get mutagens and they give you special powers.
Yeah, you upgrade.
Yeah, you upgrade. So yeah, it gets a little ridiculous, but it's fun.
But scary. Yeah, sharks are so scary on their own. You don't have to do much more.
You're gonna make them extra scary.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way it starts out, so in the opening scene, this Cajun sea captain, he catches and cuts open this bull shark, and then he finds out it's pregnant, so he cuts open its stomach, pulls out the baby, and he's like, all right, I'm going to mark you so I know who you are. So he gives him like a cut across the eye, and then the shark bites his arm off and hops into the water and swims away, and then you become that baby shark.
Right,
so there's
that's
like
cool.
this. There's
Now
like
you
this
got me. I'm
rivalry.
back in, baby.
So there's this rivalry built, and then all the other cutscenes afterwards are just like this stupid documentary series, like Deadliest Catch style, about this guy hunting the shark, and like you
love
got to
it.
go around, you got to eat turtles, and like the alligators are trying to eat you, but then you become bigger and stronger, and you can take on bigger enemies. It's almost like an open world type thing. But yeah, it's cool, man. I enjoyed it.
Fascinating.
It was a good time.
Bobby says he doesn't like story games, proceeds to play a story game
Yeah.
about a shark, loves it.
Well, this one gets it, dude. This is ridiculous. We're just gonna have a good time here.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're gonna waste my time with some stupid stories, let's make it really stupid.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I
Right.
picked this up on PlayStation. On PlayStation Plus, it was free some weekend, some month, and I picked it up. And yeah, same vibes. Like it's kind of repetitive, but it's super fun. The kids loved it, of course. Jumping around with a shark eating people. But yeah, it's super a good time for.
I mean,
small,
it's pretty
short time.
funny how you can just flop up on land, and you flop like a fish out of
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
but then you just like grab somebody in your teeth and just drag them back in the water. You can jump up on boats. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
How's the soundtrack for that? Are they playing like Nelly Furtado's Maneater while that's going on, or
You see, it's funny you would go there because I'd think Hall and Oates, Maneater, but generational gap here.
either way, they should be playing both of them, right? It's
Yep.
enough
I mean,
content.
you just sing
for-
it yourself, Whoa, whoa,
That's
here I
true.
come.
Yeah,
You provide the soundtrack here.
that's fair enough.
All right. What else did you guys play?
We played a lot. So, John's been here. We have been gaming. So I was thinking we were just going to couch co-op and stuff. And good thing we didn't go that route because, you could pretty much couch co-op remotely now. And it's almost like a better experience because each person has their
setup.
their
Yeah.
own setup. Yeah. So John brought his Steam Deck and you take it, John. It was
Yeah,
your Steam
yeah.
Deck.
So I got the notification from Valve about my Steam Deck being available on Friday, not this past Friday, the Friday before. And I was like, oh shit, there's no way that that's going to arrive in time for me to have it for my trip to San Diego. But sure as shit, got the notification on Friday, ended up paying for it and getting it shipped. And even with the 4th of July weekend, I got it on freaking Tuesday. So then Tuesday night, Wednesday night, before I flew out Thursday, I'm like loading it up with games and getting all the things I need. And
So much
everything.
so that you didn't bring underwear.
No, I didn't pack anything
You were
else.
so focused on downloading enough games.
Day 4, same
Yeah.
clothes, everything. But I did bring
I
a
haven't
toothbrush.
showered since.
I brush my teeth every day. I saw Emilio brush his teeth once. I'm just saying.
I mean, how often do you
But he did
see
it. But he did it.
It's like
guys.
God.
Yeah.
You just have to
It's
have faith that
progress.
it
Just
happens,
have to have
dude.
faith. But yeah, so a couple other things that I brought with too was a keyboard, a small portable keyboard, and a mouse, and asked Emilio if he'd have a spare monitor for me. So one of the really cool things, I'm going to gush a little bit, guys, so bear with me. It has been. That's my line. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we say the same things. But it has been. It's basically a gaming computer. I mean, that's really what it is. So on the flights out, I did have a power at my seat, plugged it in, and I was playing the new Final Fantasy VII remake for the trip out, and it was great. It was like playing PS5 level AAA games on a handheld. It was amazing.
Let that sink in, everybody. PS5
Yes.
in your hands.
In your hands, yeah, it's amazing. And then with it plugged in, no battery life. Battery life wasn't an issue. On the second leg of the trip, again playing a mixture of games, including Final Fantasy for the most part, and I was over 2 hours, and it was down to like 17-18%. So my biggest gripe is a realistic one in that, yeah, you're getting PS5 quality in a handheld, but the battery life, don't expect it to last 8 hours or anything like that. It's going to be 2-3 hours, that type of stuff. But with the keyboard and mouse setup and the spare monitor, like we legit set it up right next to Emilio. There's pictures in our Discord of the setup, and we
had a LAN going.
We had a
without
LAN party.
Second tower.
Yeah, and all I brought was a little baby keyboard and mouse, and the Steam Deck. It worked awesome. Like I'm thoroughly gushing on its ability to work in both desktop mode as basically a PC with a Linux environment, as well as just using it in handheld or big picture mode in Steam. It's fantastic.
Every time I would walk into the area, it wasn't a Steam Deck sitting there.
No.
There was a computer sitting there on the desktop with what you would see if there was a tower there.
Yep.
So he had his icons, the whole thing, a regular PC gaming desktop. And I'm not talking about that because that's so hard to emulate, but it operated exactly like one. So he sat down and he fucking down. It was like he had a little tiny version of what I have.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
That's amazing.
It was pretty great. There was a couple of issues, but a couple Google searches, and we got through
we got
that.
them fixed. Yeah. There's little corner cases yet, but not a big deal at all.
For sure. And
awesome.
the only thing it really chugged on was Baldur's Gate 3?
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 was a little challenging. Yeah, it completely opened the thing wide up when we plugged in basically the USB-C breakout that enabled the HDMI and USBs. I mean, it literally was a PC. So anything that the Steam controls didn't make sense for, you had a keyboard and mouse for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And it worked
amazing.
just like it was running on a PC.
Because you put it in desktop mode, and it becomes,
Yep.
that's what it
yeah,
becomes.
it's exactly what it is.
Did you need a special USB-C breakout cable, or did you just buy some random one?
I bought an Anchor. Well, I brought one with me, but it only had like one USB and a lower quality HDMI.
Okay.
But Anchor sells one that also has a power input so that you can keep.
Yeah.
keep
I
it
got
plugged
like a
in.
few of those for my Mac, so I'm
Yep.
just wondering if those are compatible. Or
I'm sure it probably
Okay.
is. Yeah, it's nothing special. Yeah, and plugged in keyboard, mouse, his PS5 DualSense, like everything recognizes, works, launches. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing piece of hardware.
It sounds awesome, man. It really sounds like it's worth the price.
Yeah,
Like if you enjoy PC gaming or just gaming in general, like that's your fucking thing.
I mean, price is always relative, but if you think about what you're getting for the price, it's a fucking steal.
right. Yeah, because you're
It's a
paying,
steal.
what, $400 to $600, and my entire Steam library is immediately available.
How much was your gaming PC?
well, except for Monster Train, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we already talked about that. Monster Train works on Switch,
Although
but for
it-
whatever reason doesn't work on deck.
It would work under these circumstances.
You could play it in desktop mode.
Yeah.
You totally could
Yeah.
be fine.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. I
Okay.
bet it would.
I wonder
Yep.
why that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the inputs change depending on which mode you launch the game in, which is one of our problems when we were playing Portal 2. Was the first, and then John smartly was like, let's try another first-person shooter to see that this is the problem because it would look up and spin like a tornado, and it wasn't the mouse sensitivity, it wasn't any of that. So we went into DRG. DRG was acting odd.
Yep.
So we're like, okay, it's definitely a Steam thing. I did a little Google search. Guys like, just launch the game in desktop mode.
Yep.
And it's going to expect it to be mouse and keyboard. Done.
Yeah, flawless. Yep,
Flawless.
No issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, DRG ran fine. We're even like looking. I'm like looking over at Emilio side eye, and I'm like, dude, this looks pretty good on a monitor, like
Yeah.
24-inch monitor.
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks pretty good.
And I looked at it and I was like, it looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Because we know the DRG hub area so well.
Yeah.
That we would know if something was off, and nothing was off.
Yeah.
This screw wasn't there before.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, and Bobby, kind of to your question, some things in the compatibility, right? So we're going to nerd out for just a second, right? It's running Linux, and then it has that Proton distribution that essentially adapts things for Windows to make some of the games run it, and it just doesn't work on everything. Is kind of the
okay.
issue, right?
The last thing I guess is you really appreciated the turn off startup ability, where
Oh yeah,
you don't have to save, you don't have to do anything. You
I-
just literally turn the thing
It's like
off.
a save state
yeah,
type thing.
yeah. I
Yeah.
thought for
Okay.
sure it wasn't going to keep my place in the game if I hit the sleep button and came back to it later, like a Switch or a PlayStation 5 would. But absolutely, it's right there. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so your pickup, shut down, get into the game time is minimal.
Yeah. Yep.
Turn the thing on, you're right there.
Yep.
Yeah, so a rave review. What did you think of Final Fantasy VII just in general?
I mean, well, it got the DLG bump, so I had to pick it up.
Right.
And this is how good it is, right? So I already have it for PlayStation 5. I played the demo, then I got the full version because I was like, this is really good, this is really fun, and then I got distracted by who knows what at the time, probably Elden Ring or something else. And yeah, getting time on a plane to actually sit down and play it for once. Yeah, it's a fantastic game. I played the original 7, and yeah, it's gorgeous. It played super well. Yeah, it's great.
Nice, man.
I'm really glad that somebody is finding that game like really enjoyable. Like somebody I know, because I played it and I'm like I want to go back to it, but I think I just need to get past the first act.
Yeah.
I love it too, man. I think it's fucking fantastic.
Well, and I'm like Emilio, of course. I don't like JRPG type games, and like I always dug Final Fantasies, and this one's great. It's super good.
Tifa might have a little bit to do with it.
She might, yeah, yeah.
And then one of the things we got to do seamlessly with the Steam Deck is play Demio all together. Finally, I got to play. I am playing VR because I don't want to be a dick and be like, I'm in this giant awesomeness and you have to play on that. But yeah, we both played. So there's 2 versions. You have to download both of them, right?
Well,
If
so
you have both.
if you have VR and you want to also be able to play the PC edition, you do have to download both. They're essentially 2 separate games that are included in a bundle, regardless of which one that you buy. If you want to just really be on the safe side, buy Demeo, then like just the regular one. If you have VR, otherwise, I mean, because like I said, the way that they did it is they first released this game as VR only. Then they came out and made a PC edition of it, but instead of charging people for a second game, they just included it in with the bundle of the first one.
Right.
But it is technically, and based on code and Steam, like it is technically 2 separate games.
I
that
see
you
what
have
you're
to
saying.
download.
To be safe, you buy the regular one just in case you ever get VR, right?
Yep.
And then you get the other one automatically.
Yep. Yeah,
That
it's a part of a
totally makes
bundle,
sense.
and it also comes with the soundtrack too. But all right, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of strange how they do it. It is a
Yeah.
bundle, and you can only buy the bundle, and it doesn't really make that very clear. I think. Well, I guess on the Steam page it has it there under Add to Cart, and so it includes Demio, the soundtrack, and the PC edition. So you get those 3 things in this bundle, and that's really your only option.
Yep.
Bobby,
but
there's no way around this one. You're gonna have to pick this one up, dude.
Yeah, probably.
it's really, really good.
I mean, as long as I don't have to role play, that's really.
No,
No,
you don't
so
have
it's
to
not
role
that.
play.
Okay.
I've been playing with so many different people because, yeah, like last week I was up in Canada for a wedding, for Christian's wedding, and it was really beautiful and awesome. And I'm not going to get too much into it because I don't want to get emotional about it, but it was really sweet and beautiful. But anyway, I didn't have much time to game, but I played a shitload of Demeo with different people, including with Diddy and Emilio.
And we were
here.
the best out of all of them, right?
No, but that's okay. No, you
it's a
guys were
hard
brand
no.
new, so it was there. But I think for brand new, it was good, and it's cool because the last time that I played Demeo, there was not this Curse of the Serpent Lord, which is the 4th book, and it takes place in like a deserty. It reminds me of like The Mummy, the movies, The Mummy. And there's a lot of like hidden shit in the sand and like different ways to play. I played with Jew for Use community, and we got all the way to the very end of the boss, which was hard as fuck. And there was like 4 of us that were all pretty good at playing the game, and it was very difficult, which is good. And there's a new character that you can play, which is the Warlock, this gorgeous woman that's got like a massive, I don't know, like lynx, I guess, of a cat that fights on her behalf. But yeah, I never saw that character or played that character until I played with you, Emilio, and JPDiddy, and you played that character. And so what was that character like playing her?
I generally go for pet classes, and the Ranger didn't get a pet, right? Ranger doesn't have a pet.
So the Ranger has a card where you can summon Verushka, which is like a wolf. they'll fight for you, but you're not
Yeah.
guaranteed it. Like it's just one of those special cards, kind of like the Bard having a regen card, like that kind of thing. But with the Warlock, like it is a part of your mechanic. Like you will always have that cat.
Yeah,
If
she's
it
just
dies,
always there.
yeah, she's there. But then if she dies, I think she respawns in like 3 turns or something. So there is a penalty to her dying, but for the most part, she always comes back. So you always have her.
Yeah,
It's a big part of the mechanic.
There's a lot of D&D in here, obviously. She's a warlock. What warlocks do is do Eldritch Blast. She has her own version of Eldritch Blast, which, I have 2 of the same cantrips. So it's it's supposed to be really good. And I used it 70% of the time, 75% of the time. And I was super satisfied with that character. But let's get into, I guess, what it was originally and what it's become, or what most I gotta imagine most people are gonna play it on the PC edition. I gotta imagine that, right?
I've been really finding quite a split. I think it really just depends on whether you're in the mood for it or not. These games take a while. These are multi-hour kind of a game. You start up with one book, and it will take you probably at least an hour to maybe a few hours to get through it. So it kind of, I think I've noticed that there are some people, I got a buddy that only plays this game in VR. He hasn't even downloaded the PC edition. He doesn't care to. He only wants to play it in VR. I'm really on the mix about it. To me, I'm kind of if I just started playing video games and I'm feeling good, I'm not feeling sick or a headache or I don't really drink anymore. But if I were to be hungover, I would not be playing the VR edition. But
Right.
if I want to have a really cool, immersive, fun experience, then that's great. And I will say, if you can get 4 people together to all play VR, this is so much fun.
That's
in
what I
VR
was
when
just
it's
gonna
everybody
imagine
in
that. That's
VR.
pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So you can tell when you're playing
Having
the
4
PC.
friends.
I can only tell from from what I've played, which is PC version. But obviously, this game is built for VR. You can tell, and I think that had some side effects. So the way you play it in VR is kind of like chess pieces. You pick up your little dude and you knock it into what you want to attack. Sounds super simple, and in a way it is. But funny enough, you can we fucked up and we missed a few times.
That's right.
Yeah.
It in a tile board that has, let's say, within your circle of influence, 20 tiles. The enemy occupies one of those, and if you just happen to just slip a little bit, you're gonna attack that empty tile. So you got to actually be kind of on top of it, but everybody makes mistakes, and it's part of the whole thing. Nobody's perfect, and you could also roll a skull, which is a miss, which everybody's like wah wah wah. It brings the whole room down and stuff. Just like a crit, everybody's like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I think this being a VR game originally made the PC version a better game. Because it is so easy to pick up. Probably difficult to master, but that's what you want. That's the classic line that everybody talks about. Easy to pick up, difficult to master, right? And I think that's where we're at right here. I think the only reason John and I got through what we did, which was the first book, was because Amanda was there and
Yeah, she coached us.
She coached us and she played the bard to the extreme. Well, there was no time where I wasn't buffed up in
felt
some
buffed.
way. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you're not buffing your friends, they're not really your friends, right? Or
There you
you're
go.
not a good friend, right? Got to buff them.
I'm surprised
buff 'em up.
you guys didn't let Days play the new character. She's played all the other ones. Why not just?
She didn't even want to.
No,
Before we even launched, she's like, I'm the bard.
Yeah, well, because you guys were brand new. And it's so much better to. I definitely think that this is a game where it's going to be the greatest for you to learn if you do have a friend that's familiar with the game and they play the bard. Because the bard is so important, but is definitely one of the more boring classes to play. So I would never want somebody brand new to try out the bard because it's just you get 2 action points per turn, and every turn, 1 action point will be dedicated to keeping in mind a rotation of who's been buffed, where they're at, how many they have left. So it is a lot of strategy, but in way more of a healer supporter role, which is not as much fun, especially if you're the kind of person that wants to be a tank, go in, get in the action, fight, kill things, stuff like that. But the bard is incredibly important, and some people they do gravitate towards that. But I think as a general average, it's a lot easier to understand this game if you go in much more on the aggressive stance than the defensive stance, and the bard is all defense.
I was all DPS. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
Killing things. And John was the tank. Yeah. But I also felt like same thing. You only get 2 action points, and one of yours was almost always dedicated to armoring up.
Yep.
Yeah. Not me. Both of mine were killing every time. It was fun. Super fun. But yeah, we wouldn't have got anywhere if we were 3 DPS, I don't think.
No. I mean, hopefully you can, if you play this game, you can find somebody that does really love playing this game and likes to play with a lot of people and has played a lot. Because I feel like anybody that has played this game a lot is going to be able to recognize out of their friends, like the way that their friends are going to want to play, and think of a way to complement that so that way it works, you know?
Yeah.
Because, if I would have picked, like, the wizard, then we all would have been fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick would just be a narrator. He'd be like, you come into a dark dungeon. As
That would be kind of fun,
I got
though.
props
That
for
would be
my
cool.
yesterday's game of D&D for my narration and descriptions. But what I was going to ask is, because I play so much for the king, would this be a good game to play?
She hasn't played for it.
I
I
haven't
haven't played
played.
for the King.
There's
Yeah.
actually no crossover. I don't know, dude. It's a completely different game. This is a dungeon crawler. I guess that is too. It's different. It's different. There's no roguelike. You either make it or you don't, and that's it. You're either gonna wipe TPK, everybody's dead, or you're gonna make it. We went down like fucking, like it. It was awesome. It couldn't have played out better.
Yeah.
John did a charge through the boss, through an explosive barrel.
That days through.
Yeah, Days through. It killed Days, but that was part of the collateral. Sorry,
Collateral damage.
Collateral.
Yeah.
can't say it. Collateral. Collateral
like
damage.
a Scottish guy trying to say burglary.
It's all right. Or
Then-
Umakasa. Yeah, it's all right.
Killed the boss, and it's one of those things too. It's like Independence Day. You kill the boss, you win, and only on the book boss. And he goes in there, gets behind her, fucking hammers her from her asshole, wins. Days is dead, but we all won as a party.
Yeah.
She got her XP. It was awesome.
Yeah, sometimes
Zap
dying
Brannigan
is
moment.
part of the strategy.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
This is a 10 out of 10 game. I
Yeah,
think,
it's a
for me.
super good game. And
I love this game.
And to a comparable that Emilio's been bringing up week after week, Stolen Realm, which has kind of been our go-to. This is very comparable to it. Different in enough ways, but both fantastic games. This definitely going to play again.
And this is still like in development. They're adding more stuff. Like I said, the 4th book is new, and there's a new character to play. So I'm really excited to see where this goes in the future, because already the game is like what I would want it to be, of a full release, like polished game. Like I feel like it's well enough, like it's certainly great. Like I love this game. I love coming back to this game. I'm down to play. There's so many people that are playing it that if anything, I kind of struggle, like, limiting the amount of people I can play with, because you can only do 4 people. And so there's a lot of times where I'll be playing with 4 people, and then I'll have people DMing like, "Oh my god, do you have room?"
That's where
and
Stolen Realm comes in.
Yeah.
Stolen Realm goes up
yeah,
to
I wish there were more
6
people.
or 8, dude.
It's 6.
Yeah,
Is it
that's-
6?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think 6 would be fun for this one, but probably for like later books. Like if they keep advancing, like I don't think 6 people is necessary on the first book. That would be too easy. But I think that if they did like a 5th book and it was a much bigger map and much more difficult, then that would be great to increase to even 5 or 6 people to play. And then you just play like a later version. Like if they were to come out with 3 or 4 more books that are made for bigger multiplayer groups, that would be awesome, because then if you just had a party of like 5 or 6, then it would only be those books that you could play in. I think that
Kind
would
of
be
like
a cool way to do
Phasmophobia,
it.
where there's like maps for bigger groups,
Exactly.
and maps for
Right.
just duos.
I would
and
love to
solos.
see them do this. They did just add a thing now too where you can do co-op, where you and one other person can play.
That's right.
And you both control 2 people.
Oh,
so you can
right.
do a whole thing of 4 just off of 2 people playing, which is fantastic.
Yeah, just like
I love that.
Divinity.
Yeah.
In Divinity, there's a thing like that where instead of, what is it called? You controlling 4 people. Well, you can't. Each of you can control 2 if you want.
right.
But instead
Yes.
of having to control that many, what you can do instead is you can choose the lone wolf perk. which gives you essentially the strength of another person.
That's how
So
Bobby
you-
and I played through the whole first game.
It's easier to do that if you're not going to play with so many people because it's just
It takes forever.
it takes forever to do. Just the inventory management alone is so time consuming if you have 4 characters that you're controlling.
I'm gonna pee my pants. I want to say one more thing. It's time for them to start thinking about DLC, right? Like paid DLC, I think. Wouldn't you say, Dave?
I don't know. I mean, like,
Game hasn't even been out 6
yeah,
months.
the game's technically, yeah, the game
I'm
is.
saying they've done enough that what you get for the price right here is worth it.
Oh yeah,
right?
the price for this game is absolutely worth it right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, right
And then
now it
so,
is
like,
absolutely.
They gave this last character for free, and then I think the next one, it'd be
I mean, I'd like to hope
be
that they would
okay.
just finish the game and then maybe add an
Yeah.
expansion or DLC. But like, I think they should just focus on finishing the game because.
I'm
Get
gonna
to a
go
clear
pee.
breaking point. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing though that I remember about with Divinity though is with their party management is that you technically could have 3 people controlled by one person and then one person controlled by one. So like that kind of customizability is not in Demeo. It is 2 and 2 that each person would put. But I definitely remember in Divinity you can control 3 characters if you wanted.
I really like this whole paradigm generically. What I mean by that is where you have VR games that are also playable in the PC version
I
because
couldn't agree more. Yep.
it's so awesome to be able to, cross over, so to speak, cross play between those 2 platforms because not everybody has a whatever $500,000 VR headset, and there's some fantastic games that just on the PC version alone. So I think that's really cool. I think it also is enticing then for people to get VR headsets too,
Yeah.
right? Which I think is cool.
Yeah, because the crossplay in this as well is so fluid and easy. You absolutely could have one person playing VR, 3 people playing VR, like
Right.
everybody. Like it doesn't matter. It completely works fine regardless of who's on VR or not. And I love it because there is limitations to our bodies when it comes to playing VR. Like I can't play VR for 4 or 5 hours straight, whereas I definitely could do that for the PC edition in this game. So there's some days where it's like, oh, I definitely want to be in VR and be immersed and be playing like I'm actually playing a chess game, like a real tabletop game
Yeah.
with my friends. But then there's also times where it's like, no, man, I just want to lay in my bed and like fucking play this game with my friends too, And so you can do both ways with it. So I agree. I would really love to see more VR games kind of do it the way this one does. And I don't even mind that it's technically 2 games that you would have to install, I don't remember them being very big, to be honest, though, either way.
I
But
wonder if they're ever gonna like address that, like eventually just put them into both, and like just merge saves and everything.
yeah. Yeah, I kind of
people don't
agree
get
with that's
confused.
what Tag Laura was saying in the chat, that he feels that they're going to probably merge them in the future, but at the moment they wanted to get the PC version out like ASAP so that way more people can play. And I could definitely see that and agree with that. I could see
There's
them
so many people
updating.
that are like buying the wrong versions of like fucking all kinds of games like Vermintide and shit, and you're just like, and then you can't play with them, and then you have to buy another game, and you have to return the one you just bought. It's just
Well, it would be perfect for them to merge when they launch, like, since this is still technically in early access, that would be a fantastic time then when they do the 1.0 launch, like, to have it just combined. That would be the perfect time to do that. But, yeah, we'll see. Either way, this game never fails to be a fun and great time. And so I love it. Can't wait to keep playing more of it.
speaking of games that never stop being fun.
Speaking of,
Speaking
it's
of,
Tarkov.
I thought we put a moratorium on that. That's okay.
We're trying to
Did we?
escape from the same thing. And speaking of escaping, yeah, no.
Came back.
So it's now been week 2 of the wipe from Escape from Tarkov. This is usually when people start leaving, and surprisingly, there are more and more new people. It's actually really weird because this is like usually the game stays hype for like a week or 2, and then starts dropping off. But there are still new people. Like yesterday, I ran into a level 2 guy, which is like at this point is really weird because you just wouldn't be that low. But obviously he just started playing the game. I've had more memorable moments this wipe in just the first week alone than I had in the last year playing the game. They've added so many new items and like things to do in your hideout and stuff like that, that it's like you're no longer just trying to pick up things for money. you're like, oh man, I need matches. You have like a shopping list every time you join a game. You're like, I need matches, fucking roach killer, like,
Ice
all
cream
these other
cones.
things. Yeah, like you need all these different things, and it makes the game way more interesting. Like, because normally there are things that you would just normally throw away because you would get like $1.50 for it. But what ends up happening is like you need 3 of those, items to be able to upgrade your heating unit inside your little base. So,
And what does
there's
that
like
give you,
now
though?
like base management.
What does that give you though? You upgrade your heating unit, then what?
So, now, so every character has like stamina, like dehydration, all that kind of stuff, right? And so when you play games, you lose energy and water levels and stuff like that. And when you upgrade your heating, for example, your energy regenerates way faster.
Hmm.
And so the same thing goes for like if you get like a medical tent and you upgrade that, like your character heals passively. You don't have to use your first aid kits and stuff to be able to heal yourself.
Hmm.
So it's pretty interesting. It gets later on. You can build a Bitcoin farm. And so it's pretty nuts. You can build a shooting range inside your little hideout. So
Yeah, it
it's
gives you more. It gives you more to do than just farming weapons and gear.
exactly, because the way it used to be when me and all my friends played, we were like, all right, we're gonna go kill all the bosses and all the other players and just get all their guns, just guns and gun parts. That's all we would get, and then we would sell all that stuff on the flea market for money. Now it's like, ah man, I need a fucking Bic lighter.
Yeah.
Like we're just scrounging for random shit all the time. So it's fun.
That's interesting, man. That's good. Man, they've been working on
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
game.
it looks good.
Well, and it's interesting too
Um,
that you said that this past wipe, like, there's been so many fascinating things going on, and I hang out a lot with like the Jew for You community and their Twitch and stuff, and they've been obsessed with Tarkov for the last year, and that's what they've actually been talking about too. Is that the last 2 weeks since the last wipe, it's been really fascinating. There's a ton of like really interesting interactions and. They've been having a lot of fun with it. A lot of frustrations. Like my one buddy, Duder, who was just on here, like I guess, like hit his keyboard because he couldn't prone, like he couldn't get out of prone. So like there's definitely still some bugs and shit going on in the game for sure. Because I can tell with them rage quitting
Yeah.
Tarkov because they can't get out of prone and then die. So things
there
like
are
that.
some
But
bugs, but like the stuff that used to break the game, like duplication glitches and all that kind of stuff, are all gone, which is
oh,
nice.
that's nice.
So you no longer have people that are like super mega strong that shouldn't be because they duplicated 1,000 M4s and then sold them, and now they're just wearing like the best of everything.
Last thing on this extra tasks that you have or whatever, self-imposed tasks, collecting these things. Yeah, there's something else to do, but also I gotta imagine people that have been looking for Bic lighters have been shot the fuck up a lot. It's another thing to distract you while you're in this war zone. You're looking for toilet paper or whatever, and people are gonna sneak up on you. You're gonna get got a lot more, especially if you're a top tier player trying to like get those last things for your apartment, right?
Yeah,
Nick?
no, definitely.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is like, so unfortunately there's a big uptick in cheaters on the higher levels, like the levels that require you to have like a ticket to get in and all that stuff. But the thing is, that's stuff that you wouldn't be reaching for a while anyways, like you wouldn't be reaching for like another 6 months or 5 months from now. So you don't have to really worry about cheaters right now.
I just wish that it sounds like at least from hearing my friends play, it seems like so many of the kills are fucking friendly fire kills. Like, because they don't,
No HUD.
there's no HUD. So it's like, there's been so many times where it's like where you're playing with your buddies, it seems. And then like you're in the heat of the battle and adrenaline and shit. And like you shoot up your friend next to you and you had no idea that was your friend. Cause there's no HUD or anything letting you know that that's a friendly.
That's what these people
I wish
like,
they
though.
change. Yeah, yeah.
They want the
Yeah,
hardcoreness. And it's a sad thing to bring up, but a real war happens all the time.
That's a good point.
All the time.
All the time, dude.
All the time.
Oh yeah, but
What's
it's a
really-
video game, guys. Come on, you can't just be
people-
like,
Yeah.
well, it happens in real war, so obviously video games should copy. I mean, it's a choice that they
It is a
make,
choice.
and some people like that stuff, but
Yeah,
the
that's
video
what-
games have no obligation to reality. Is what
True.
I'm trying to say.
True.
No, not
I
at
agree
all.
with that.
Except for Tarkov, where the players who play this want as close to reality as possible.
Yeah.
The one thing that like I watched like a mini documentary about Tarkov, and the guy talks about like Tarkov came at the perfect time. So at the time, like Call of Duty was becoming more and more cartoony, and then Battlefield was just releasing just like non-modern like combat, and then just Tarkov came out, and then it really exploded, and that's what people wanted. They were like, I'm tired of having to shoot somebody like 18 times to kill them, you know. And so that's where its popularity really came from. Was it's timing,
Yeah.
and also it's maintained and updated all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you pay for it once. Not fucking every
That's true.
2022, 2023, 2024. Yeah. All right. Great game.
I'd love to get into it. I just need to catch it when I'm in between assignments, and I've got a whole month to dedicate playing like 10 hours a day to this game because this is definitely a time suck kind of game, and you can tell.
yeah, you can really get lost in it.
Well, you need to get good, and this is definitely a grindy enough game where getting good is going to take you hours. So, yeah.
This looks like a demolished city that you're in, and that might take a demolition crew, and that's what you play as in Teardown, a fucking demolition crew. That it's so funny. The little newscasts that you get in Teardown are so funny. At the very beginning, it's like, wow, construction is way up, and everybody wants to build, so demolition is way down. These people can't even get any jobs anymore, and you're part of a demolition company, right? So you start taking fucking criminal activities in order to supplement your income. You have to do it. Your mom is ahead of she's the boss, and she's like, hey, it's time. You know, we got to take whatever contract we can get. So it's all shady shit. Teardown is a first-person voxel-based demolition heist game. Yeah, I did that on the fly. I'm
That's
pretty proud of
amazing.
Well
myself.
done.
Very well done.
So, so there's different kinds of missions. Some you're timed in, some you are not. Both are very fun. So one of the missions, one that's fresh on my brain, is like a rich guy wants his own, like, what do you call that? Where you park your boat? What is that called? No,
Docking?
Docking.
no, like a slip, his own slip.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
there's no
slip
more
your dock.
room because it's all sold out. So what you have to do is go and destroy a guy's house that already lives on the dock, and make room for his slip, and then go break into his house and get his safe and throw it into the ocean. And
Wow.
yeah, that's all. That all happens at night. So there's no timer on that one. You just don't. You have to keep the alarm levels so whatever fire breaks out can't get too high, and whatever noise you can make can't get too low. But it's nowhere near stealth. Like, you are definitely doing demo, full on fucking bulldozer, knock the guy's house down. And so, like, when I realized that this is an interesting game and something I haven't played before, was the safe. In any other game, you would go and pick up the safe, put it in your inventory, walk over to a water, and just throw the safe into the water. Not so here. You can't pick up a safe. Nobody can pick up a safe. You don't have a dolly. What are you going to do with the safe? So John saw me struggling with this. So the first thing I did was destroy the floor below it, because it's on the second floor, just to get it down on the ground floor. And the water's all around this house, so all I got to do is move it like 50 feet and mission done. And I brought over a crane machine. I brought over a forklift. I brought over a bunch of shit, and none of it was working because I broke the crane and the forklift. I could not get the forks underneath the safe and keep it. And so you're dealing with like a physics game at that point. Like, how do I get this super heavy thing in the water? And I think you could play this game hundreds of times, and you probably, unless you try to do the exact same plan, you're going to do a different route every single time. There's a bunch of stuff. So that's one type of game mode. And then the other type of game mode is everything has alarms on it. let's say there's 5 things in a level, and the same level. There's these 2 cars you have to steal. And 2 documents they want you to get, but those are just auxiliary. You don't have to get the documents. So I go and steal the car. The alarm goes off. You only have 1 minute to get everything out to the escape vehicle. And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to do this? As soon as I drove this thing 10 feet, the alarm went off. And then I realized, oh, if I move the entire container the car is in, the alarm won't go off because the alarm is inside the container. So both cars have 2 different containers. One is kind of like a moving container, and the other one is on a boat. So I hijack the boat, move it over to closer to the escape area. I went and got the shipping container, used the crane to move that around, brought it over to the thing, just getting it ready. I didn't steal any card. I just stole the container. And then I set up this whole elaborate plan where I was going to steal the documents, jump out the hole in the wall that I made, jump into a boat, captain the boat? What do you do to a boat?
Drive.
Are you
Pilot?
sure?
Yeah, you
Sail.
steer.
Everybody said a different thing, so nobody knows. I'm going to go with maneuver. I maneuvered the boat
Maneuver.
over to the other house that had the other documents, or had already pre-planned all this. I'm not demoing at this point. I already made all the holes in all the walls that I need to. I get up there real quick, grab the thing, and as I'm explaining to John my plan, like I did this,
And I'm
I did
criticizing it the whole time.
No, he's not.
In my own mind.
He's just listening.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, from the house to the escape vehicle, that's kind of a long walk. I should get a fast vehicle to get me there. So then I went and got a fast vehicle, put it right outside that house. You know, it's a whole planning heist thing. It's Ocean's 11 before the heist. And then, you know, I played it out, and it didn't play out exactly how I wanted. And I was off by a few things. But, you know, mostly it worked, but, you know, I couldn't get the car off the truck that it was on. So if I had one downside, it's like I think I have to do all those things at prep work again, which is like that's the bulk of it, because the heist is you only have 1 minute, and then the cops come. So you have to get everything done. So it's all prep work. So if you fail, I think you have to do all the prep work again. But at least I have most of it worked out, and it's just like rinse, repeat, try to get it done again. Or maybe I'll come up with a different strategy. But yeah, super fun. And then also the little newsreels. I really appreciate them in between when you go back to. And then it was like there was a show on about the guy whose house I broke down. And it's like unsolved mysteries, house, address, all in existence. Mail used to be sent there. One day the house was gone. And it's just like this, do, 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 do. Like, what happened to this house? And yeah, you know what happened to that house. You fucked it up with a hammer. Yeah, and then every level you get through, you unlock another demo equipment. Right now I have a blowtorch, a fire extinguisher, a sledgehammer, and I just unlocked one other thing. But yeah, I'm having a good time with it. It's overwhelmingly positive. It's a 10 out of 10 on Steam. I totally get it. It's a very original concept. Yeah, I dig it a lot. I can highly recommend it. It's $20 right now. I'd recommend it for that. I think I got it on sale, maybe. Yeah, I think I got it on sale for the Steam summer sale. But yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah, I'd just piggyback on watching you play it, right? So the big thing I kept commenting on, and I'm not a voxel pixel game guy. I've pretty much never played Minecraft, but I was like, God, this looks really good. And one thing we started to notice, or at least I did, right, is the water effects, the fire effects, the smoke, the light effects. Those are all like AAA title graphics. You know, those are not voxelated at all. So those look realistic. And then everything else, it's a very pretty game to boot. And I was asking you about it at the time, right? Hey, is there a way you can like do building and stuff like that? And we were talking about, yeah, there's got to be or stuff like that to set this up. And it looks like in one of the previews that they actually have that. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make a level for you to go play through. And we're gonna see if you can think like me and figure out how to make it through the level.
Yeah, Yeah, you can challenge each other. And
That'd be
what I was
cool.
telling John is like, not in the Minecraft sense, but you do like if you're like, oh man, I'm gonna save 30 seconds if I could build a bridge between these two buildings, but then you knock down a silo, and the silo you make it fall the way you want to, and it builds a bridge. You can build things through destruction. That's the guy. That's my whole motto in life.
Yeah,
Like,
that's-
Build things
order
through
through chaos. Yeah. But thinking about things together leads us to Portal 2. Did we got into
it a little bit, right? With the
played it
Steam Deck.
more than
We played it a lot.
anything
Actually.
else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think you got hooked over the last couple of days. I mean, this one of the best 2-player experiences
Yeah.
there are.
And we hit it up a couple years ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we were partway through Portal 2 and just never circled back around to it. But yeah, it was one of the games that was completely Steam Deck compatible. But regardless, we were playing it in desktop mode set up with the keyboard and mouse. And yeah, it's just a fantastic game. And I had never played through it. Emilio has. But it's been so long and he's had so much alcohol since that he's forgotten how to do the levels. So that's been fun.
That's not what's happening. What's happening is I'm letting him figure everything out while I sit back and relax. No, it's true. I don't remember a goddamn thing. So it's great. It's like playing through it the first time again. And yeah, for years I was saying that this was the best 2-player co-op on PC. But that's because there wasn't a lot. There was multiplayer.
True.
There was versus. There just wasn't a lot of, couch co-op or even co-op through campaigns. It didn't exist when this came out. And not to say that this is a dated version of that. In some ways, it's fucking advanced. One thing, you can ping things.
Yeah.
First time that's ever happened. Guess what? You could also do it. You can hold tab, and you'll see through your
Partner's eyes.
your partner's eyes.
Yep.
Games don't do that today.
But
there's-
it's even. You mentioned that in Tarkov. Whenever someone like we
oh,
play
you
duos,
son of a bitch.
we it's because everyone has double monitors or an iPad. We just stream our screen
Yep.
in Discord, and everybody can see what each other's looking at. So
That's
we're
pretty
like,
cool.
He's behind that red building. And
Yeah,
it's
but
like-
how nice
That's
would
what
it be if it
4U
was
does
built
as
into the
well.
game, dude?
Yeah.
Well, they don't have that technology.
Yeah, they don't from this game from like 15 years ago. But yeah, fucking great experience. And you feel smart when you get things done.
Yeah, yeah. And it's teamwork. We're high-fiving because we're right next to each other. We're high-fiving. Hey, nice job. Hey, we got that,
And I really appreciate Gladys's. I really like her voice lines. She's just such a cunt, such a cunty AI. This mission is about building bridges. You should get it done, no problem. The humans couldn't do it because you can't build bridges out of tears. And just leaves it there. Everything lingers like out of tears. You think more's coming, and it just stops. Just silence. Great shit.
Wow. All right. Is that all the games?
we got two more. And one of them, I actually did do a decent amount of, Steam Deck and other gaming with a game you guys had actually recommended, Rogue Tower. So you guys had brought that up a couple weeks ago, and I checked it out. And I don't play a lot of tower defense games conceptually. Ooh, must have thought about.
I thought you were going to say consensually.
Yeah, both consensually.
Complicated relationship with
conceptually.
Rogue Tower games.
Yes, and Emilio as well. But at any rate, Rogue Tower is a really fun roguelike game that is essentially tower defense. And when I first started this, I had done no research, watched no videos, just heard you guys talk about it. I'm like, it's pretty affordable, really good reviews. I don't remember, it was like $15-$20, something like that. And I got started, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Did my first kind of playthrough, and had no idea how deep the game got in terms of the different mechanics, the things you unlock, the priority setting of the different towers or things you build, that type of stuff. So it's been a really fun game to play, just when you've got a few spare minutes or maybe even hours to do multiple runs. And then as you play through the different runs, just like any roguelike, you build up in this game, gold that you can use to unlock additional things. And there's so much depth to the different types of towers you can create, different type of defense mechanisms you can use, the different specialities they have, whether that be bleed mechanics or poison or fire or what have you. So just really interesting. So it's definitely one of, I think, the more fun games to play from a tower defense perspective, especially if you like roguelike games. It's been really cool for me to get into that and play that, and especially with it being supremely compatible with Steam Deck using the touchpads, the trackpads. Yeah, super fun. Been playing the crap out of it on the flight out here, and then the couple weeks before. It's really fun.
So as I've played a ton of tower defense. I think this is a tower defense kind of built for PC gamers. We're a little more heady. We think about, we generally appreciate depth. If you just look at the skill tree, it's gigantic.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's huge. You can go down any kind of strategy you want. And they forego graphics on this even though it's totally acceptable and I have no complaints about it, there's not like cutesy little heroes or any of that. It's numbers versus numbers, and you're trying to beat their numbers with your numbers. And I was looking at it and I was getting into it. I was trying to give John pointers, but he didn't want to listen to anything that I told him. But yeah, and then you're expanding the map on your by your thing, which is super interesting because that adds a whole new layer I've never seen.
Yeah, so there's a strategy element too, because you expand the map out. Essentially, it expands from your tower, your main base that you're defending, and then it eventually branches, and all of it's procedurally generated with different, I'll call it nodes along the way or resources.
Every wave you put down a tile.
Yep.
And that tile might look like a split, which you don't want, probably, or like some other.
Yeah, directional.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have, this is interesting because a lot of tower defense games are point A to point B, and you put your towers along that path going there. And if the enemy reaches point B, then you lose. But this looks like it has a central location, and then there's multiple paths that can lead to it.
Yeah.
So
but
you
it's
have
all
to
randomly
build
generated.
you have to build defenses along all these different paths. So it's point A, B, C, D, E, F, G to what comes after G? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.
Well, they all go to A, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
B through Z go to A. Let's say that. But why'd you sing it to A, B, C, D? It's the thinking man's fucking tower defense.
Yeah. And there's, to your point,
Or lady.
Yeah.
Or person.
Yes.
The
Anybody.
thinking persons.
He, she,
Thinking person.
they.
He, she. No, that's not right.
But yeah, the expansion of the map is another just mechanic built into it because you want to pick which area you want to expand after it forks, right? Because that's going to add time to how long that group of enemies coming off that fork is going to get to you. So do you want them all bunched up together so you have AoE effects that will hit them all at once, or do you want to space them out? So you want to expand in a methodical manner that ties to however you set up your defenses to your tower.
He's like, I already got my ballistas are catching them on fire. I was like, you already have flamethrowers. Now you're just catching them on fire again. You're losing points. And then, we're talking about it.
Yeah, we're arguing about it like an old married couple.
Yeah,
You don't understand.
These little guys want to tear down our tower. Yeah, it was great. I'm definitely going to play this. Oh, and John loves to buy games and not play them.
This is true.
And he just shared his library with me. I feel like a rich man right now. I'm like, I wish I could just give free games to everybody. Just like, hey, take some of this. So yeah, I have Rogue Tower now. I can't wait to play it. I also have God of War.
Yeah.
Which is fucking awesome. That's high on my list.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you cry.
Yeah. Lastly, but not leastly, Sifu. So John raved about this to me nonstop. I went and bought it full price at Epic and just never played it. So like the nice guy he is, he sneaks downstairs 4 hours before I'm awake and goes to my computer, opens up Epic because it's the only place you can get it to buy it, and he saw that it was already there. And so when he came downstairs, he's like, "You're gonna play this, and I'm gonna watch you." And I said, "Okay." So it is unlike anything I've played. It has a lot of interesting things going on. So fundamentally, it's like playing a Tekken match. There is a lot of there's oh man okay there are parries, blocks, dashes. That's just the defensive side. Then there's heavy attacks, light attacks, special moves, and combos. That's a lot. There's a lot, and multiple enemies.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah, multiple enemies coming at you from different angles. What we see on screen right now is not usually how you see it. You don't see this side scroller. Usually, it's over the shoulder, third person perspective, and like playing Tekken, you're blocking, you're parrying, you're trying to counter. All these things are going on, and it feels like John Wick, or you feel like Bruce Lee working his way through the
feel
tower.
like a goddamn badass.
Yeah, you feel like a fucking badass. And then here comes these weird mechanics I've never seen anywhere else. Very interesting mechanics. So, you have this pendant that will resurrect you every single time you die. The cost of that is life expectancy, or your age, I guess. So, if you die once, you age 1 year and you pop right back up. If you die again, you age 2 years and you pop right back up. And then you age again, it's 4 years, right?
3. It always adds 1
Oh,
year.
it adds 1. So, you get to 5, and every time you die, and the weird thing is, you don't start at the beginning of the level. No, you pop up right there, right in their face, and they comment on it, like, you should have stayed down, or why is he keep getting back up? No matter how many times they kill you, you keep getting back up, and you keep getting older, though. With that mechanic, there's another one. You get stronger as you get older, but your health goes down. So you might have 100 hit points at your first level
Playthrough.
age
Yep.
level score, or whatever. Yeah, your overall performance. So, yeah, there is a lot of going back and playing these levels over and over, and I have no problem with it. I mean, they're rich environments with all kinds of little different ways. Once you've gone through it once, a lot of times you get a key card. You can cut halfway through it and fight way less guys if you want, and that'll save you a lot less deaths. You won't get as much XP. So there's a lot of risk versus reward, which is my number one thing about roguelikes is risk versus reward. Make both options tempting, or however many options there are. Make them all tempting and make me think that I'm smart for picking whatever I did, or punish me for picking the wrong one. Yeah, and yeah, it's like Hotline Miami.
Yep. That's what I was just going to say.
At the fighting part, in a fully fleshed out 3D environment, you like punch this guy, jump over the counter, slide over here, pick up the baseball bat, crack this guy over the head, take what's left of that bat, throw it at another guy, make him look somewhere else. It's fucking awesome. It's really, really strong game. I'm thinking about, I have a friend that hasn't played games in a while, and I'm like, this game was absolutely made for you. And so I'm going to introduce him to this. But yeah, it's fucking badass. But think about just the age mechanic alone would be another, like a game. It would be a strong feature in another game. And it seems to be
feature.
Yeah. And this would be, you nailed it. Yeah, it would be a core feature in something else. And it just happens to be one of the features in this game.
Yeah, the other thing worth mentioning too is the developers of this is Slow Clap. So the other game that Slow Clap made initially was Absolver, which I've never played as Absolver, but I'm at least familiar with it, right? So they started with a lot of the same mechanics from this game, like it was in Absolver, in terms of a fighting game and how they structured the over-the-shoulder action, etc. And then they essentially built it into this single-player campaign that's a roguelike. So I think that's also super impressive from a developer standpoint, that they kind of took something that I'll say was mildly successful, and I only say that out of naivety from how good or bad Absolver was.
I think that's fair.
And then built something like, you look at reviews of this across the board, Game Informer, IGN, etc., and it's 9s and 10s. Like, it's a fantastic game. It's super duper good, especially if you like roguelikes. It's Tekken mixed with a roguelike, mixed with a story, mixed with all these new mechanics that you never heard of. To the age mechanic too, what I like about it is, like, even your first playthrough of your first level, you can make it all the way through, so you actually feel like you're making progress. But exactly like you said, Emilio, you get to the end and you're like, oh, I beat the first level and I was 70, and I've got 5 other levels to go. This is not an acceptable playthrough of the first level. But when you go through it again, it's, obviously you know where things are, you know how to play through it, etc. Unless you got the guy in the chair behind you telling you exactly what to go do in every room.
What's funny about like roguelikes is we've always talked about like the only thing some of the time the only thing you take through the next the next playthrough is the experience you physically have, the muscle memory, the knowledge you're gaining. That's the only improvement you're making in these roguelikes. But in this game, you can see it physically represented in a younger body.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Good for them. Hats off.
All right.
Cool.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for our games then. Let's get to listener questions. Before we do, quick shout out to Dredge Poet coming in with the subscription earlier in the show. We appreciate that. He subscribed for 9 months.
Thanks, homie.
Damn, thank you.
9 months. All right. Okay, I forgot to put listener questions in the show notes, so I brought them up on my phone here. Let's take a look. First one is coming from Zap. Do you think that AA games have largely disappeared? It seems like these games nowadays are either indies or massive AAA experiences.
No, I don't think so. But you have the AAAs buying up a lot of the AA's. Microsoft went on a spending spree 2 or 3 years ago. They just bought all these fucking little studios, and I don't even know what ended up happening with most of those. But that's not I think that's the exception, not the norm. Like Sony didn't buy up a bunch of tiny PC developers. Only Microsoft did, and they stopped at a certain point. So there are a bunch of guys out there. And then, you only heard of the ones that got acquired. You didn't hear about all the, no, I'm not going to be acquired answers. So they're out there, and, there's games like, I don't know, Sifu is almost like a AA title.
A little bit, yeah,
absolutely.
I would say that. Yep.
Yeah, the graphics are artistic, and what would you say? They look nice. They fit the bill. Under a AAA title, they would look probably photorealistic or close to that. But these guys didn't have the money for that, or it was an artistic choice. But most likely, and then you're also playing the same levels over and over and over. So yeah, those are all telltale signs of a smaller budget. But creativity,
10 out of 10.
yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, and I think AA studios too are a little bit like the middle child syndrome, right? So you hear about the new indies that are coming out, and the smaller, really small studios that end up being successful, and then you have the oldest child that everybody loves and constantly cranks out A+ games, all that stuff, and then the other guys are just stuck in the middle.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. I completely support the AA. Usually a AA. I'm just saying, I'm just talking to my ass here. I don't know if this is true, but usually it's like an indie developer that had a couple good releases. They're moving their way up, and they had their they're coming out with their third, fourth, fifth game, and they have a little more money in their pocket, and so they're basically in India that's doing well, a lot of the time, or it's like a lot of like people have left a AAA thing with their own ideas. That's a lot of AA. It's just like, oh, corporate fucked it up. Let's go do our own thing.
Right.
We'll show them, kind of thing. And then you find out you have 1/15 of the budget or whatever it is. But yeah, there's enough gamers for everybody, and yeah,
I'd agree
All
with that.
hard work shows.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got some other questions here from Warconius. First one is, any nostalgia for PC game boxes and booklets, would you buy a physical version of a classic game like Warcraft 2 or Masters of Orion 2?
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, you're a collector guy. I think you'd appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really liked the, like, for example, like the Frozen Throne, what do you call it?
Box, I guess.
Set where it came with 3 different.
Yeah.
Like it was like one big box, but it was all 3 games, and it had like a presentation. It opened up like a little like project thing. So yeah, I really appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't care. 0.
I liked it. I mean, I definitely am not in the market to collect anymore. If anything, I've gone way more minimalistic from traveling. But
Yeah, less stuff.
yeah, but I mean, like, I always appreciated and loved like the physical designs of boxes and things like that. Like, I think of like StarCraft and Warcraft 3 was like really cool boxes to have, and then I loved like the boxes that I had for Guild Wars as well, like the first Guild Wars, and then Guild Wars 2 with the expansions that they had too with factions, and I think the other one was called Nightfall. But
It's a weird thing to think of that, like, you know, what do you call it when somebody's just buys something on a whim because they walked it by and they liked it?
Impulse buy.
Impulse buy, yeah.
Yeah.
That used to be a thing for PC gaming.
Yeah.
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 You walk by and you're like,
It still
"Whoa."
is. It's just the flashes.
Yeah,
across-
that's
just
it, yeah,
Steam.
it's all
yeah,
digital now.
it's on
Yeah,
Steam.
yeah.
It's not like you're walking through, if anybody remembers Kmart, it's not like you're walking through Kmart and you're like, what is this? And you open up the little flap and get to see like little screenshots of the gameplay. And you're like, wow, this
Oh,
looks
yeah.
cool. I'll just buy it. Like, yeah.
No
That's
idea
how
if
I
it's
got
going to run
Majesty.
on my computer.
Exactly.
We're
That's how
getting
I
a
ended up
demo
buying
from, like,
Majesty.
Pizza Hut. You remember you guys remember getting like a demo from like Pizza Hut and it would have like 8 games on it?
yeah.
Well, when you
But it
bought
would be, like,
graphics
4
cards,
of
they
them
would
would be
often
videos.
include
Yeah,
a
that's
bunch of
right.
demos.
Yep.
That's how I played. Well, not even demos. They'd include
Full
real
games.
games. That's how I
Yeah.
got Deus ex and went down
Yeah,
that
they're
whole
still
path.
doing that right
I would
now
love if
with-
we could bring back the Game Informer demo CDs.
That's right.
It would have to be
duct
like
tape
thumb
on
drive
the
or something because I don't
Yeah.
have a CD drive anymore.
All right. Warconius also asks, which game had the best first 3 hours for you?
Ooh.
It's a difficult question.
That's
I
a
guess
super
for
tough
me-
one.
That's a thinker.
Because if you don't like if you really like the first 3 hours, you probably like the rest of
Yeah.
the game. And if you didn't like it, you probably don't like it. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of a game specifically where the first 3 hours were good.
To me,
For
it was
me,
Borderlands. Oh, for you, Hades, nice.
Yeah, Hades, because you just kept unlocking new shit, and the story just kept getting better and better and better. Like the more you played it, and like most of the time, like when you played games, like the first 3 hours are kind of like baby, like woo woo, like here's this and that, here's your like gun, and here's how you do this. But Hades is like, nah, you're gonna die a lot, but every time you die, cool shit happens, like in the story. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd probably say for me, it's probably God of War, just because it's such a good story-driven game, and the whole father-son kind of trope that goes along with it is very relatable, especially these days with me. So I think that was just a fantastic kind of opening 3 hours for a storyline. There's others, but that one was very memorable to me.
All right. Best first 3 hours of a video game, Emilio. Any thoughts?
Not on the spot this quick.
Okay.
it's-
Any game you and I play for 3 hours, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one more question from Warconius here. He's asking Amanda about Canada. How was that? And you haven't really talked much about your journey into Canada.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. I don't know. It was so. I'm definitely no stranger to Canada. Growing up in Michigan, we would just do day trips to go get a Caesar or all dressed chips, and like, living in Detroit, in the inner city of Detroit for 10 years, it was like there's actually 2 apartments that I lived in where I would wake up and look outside my window and see Windsor, Canada, like every single day. So that close, very much like kind of in the same vicinity. It was kind of a mind fuck being in Canada because I've spent the last year in basically the southwest of the United States. It was in Phoenix, Arizona, and now I'm in San Diego, California. And so it's been almost a full year since I've really spent some time like up north, kind of, especially more of the Midwest and that kind of region of landscape and people and things like that. And so it was kind of wild to land in Vancouver and hear everybody be like, "Oh, geez, yeah, just gotta go grab some pop," because I was like, "Holy shit, my accent's gone," because like I don't hear an accent anymore. And I was
I
like,
am with my
"I'm
people
home."
now.
Exact. That's honestly that is what I thought. I was like, "I'm with my people." So, and then it was even more so when I went from Vancouver to Edmonton, because Edmonton geographically, I think, is very similar to what I'm used to in Michigan, which is kind of like long fields. It's semi-flat, very, very green. A lot of beautiful lakes and a lot of like conifer tree forest. And so it was really beautiful and really wonderful. And I feel like I never have a bad time in Canada. The people are so incredibly nice and very helpful and accommodating. And it was such a beautiful wedding as well. And like Christian and
cry?
Rianne's. Yeah, dude, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Well, I fucking hate chick flicks, but I'm a sucker for love. And so like it's really beautiful, cuz part of why I don't like chick flicks is cuz it doesn't seem real, and I wouldn't want to like exploit the beauty of like the wedding and love that was between like Christian and Rianne either for content or for anything else. So like that was very special. Is all I'm gonna say
You're
on
not there at
that.
the wedding on TikTok. You're like, hey everybody, I'm at Christian
No.
Rianne's wedding.
How were Christian's vows? Because he was working on them pretty close to the wire.
Oh, they wrote their own. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they were really really special. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were really special. Yeah.
Like, I will never forget that time that Risk, you surrounded me with all of your army and you let me go. Like, they always play games together, so I figure that it's that kind of stuff.
It was so cool though, because I've never been to such like a nerdy and like gamer driven wedding.
Yeah.
Like, and it was just all like that, and it was so
Gamer
cool.
music.
It was like they played the cantina music from Star Wars in their reception. I heard Elder Scrolls start to play and just about lost my shit. I was like, oh my, and that's such like a beautiful song to just.
By the way,
it sounds
better than the music that they play fucking at regular weddings. That's just that background shit, That like when you're walking around, that beautiful fairy music. How about one from a game that I love?
Yeah,
Why not?
absolutely. They played a lot of Lord of the Rings music and music from Hamilton. It was really a lovely and wonderful
yeah.
time. Yeah.
It loves Hamilton.
Do they do the chicken dance at weddings in Canada? You know what I'm talking about?
They did a lot of dancing at Canada, a lot of line dancing.
Do
Not
they do
my
the
thing.
chicken dance in
but
the United
They,
States?
I think they did do the chicken dance.
That's an Iowa thing, maybe. No?
They
All right.
they
I know
did.
I know the chicken dance. I
They
just
did
didn't know.
like the train thing too, in a way where you like had to join in and hold on to the shoulders of somebody. Like, and I had to hold on to like Rianne's dad's
Congo
shoulders,
line?
the Congo line. Yeah, they did that, and like I said, they did a lot of line dancing. But I'm not gonna lie, as soon as they started doing the line dancing,
I'm
I
out.
was like, look at how pretty it is outside. I gotta go outside. Yeah.
we are outside. I don't know where to go. I'm gonna go
Oh
inside.
no, they had dancing in the inner reception part. Yeah, it had rained the whole time until the reception, like until the wedding. Like it stopped. It was like it was just some beautiful universe shit. Yeah, like the whole trip in Canada for me, just I couldn't have asked it to line up better than it did. It was really amazing. I tried this weird car rental thing called Turo for the first time that ended up actually working out. I went to Banff National Park, which is this gorgeous part of the Canadian Rockies, and that was just like Colorado on steroids. It was so, but with everybody being so fucking nice, like it was awesome. And so, yeah, it was a really really lovely time, both the wedding and hiking in the Rockies. It was very fun.
Sweet action.
I
All
loved
right.
it. I love Canada.
Pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, that's a show, folks. What's everyone playing next week?
It's a good question.
I'll probably play more Demeo.
More Final Fantasy VII and now that I have John's library, I mean, I want to keep one short game, one long game. So Final Fantasy VII, and I'm not gonna lie, it's probably Binding of Isaac.
Nice.
Maybe some Rogue Tower. We get you to play that.
Oh yeah, Rogue Tower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also off of your account.
Yeah,
But I'm
exactly.
gonna need you to stay off of your account.
Yeah, because I'll probably be playing Rogue Tower, maybe from some Final Fantasy VII. I really got to go back to Elden Ring. Yeah, I haven't circled back to that in a while. And
I have a friend who has 28 hours in Elden Ring, never beat the final boss, and his character's right outside of it. And he's just like,
28
"I don't feel like
hours?
going back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 60, and I'm like a third of the way through the game. I need to buckle
And
down.
this is your game type.
Yeah, this is my thing. Like I
Yeah.
love, Souls likes. Like
I have
that's my
Elden Ring.
favorite. Yes. No, you don't.
You fucking.
I have it on
hate you.
PS5. I have it
No,
on PS5.
unsubscribe.
You can't. You're in.
No, but one thing that we found out through Christian is if somebody if I'm playing a game that he has on my Steam Deck, it doesn't count towards the playing on the same account for some reason.
Probably because of the mobile aspect of it. They
Yeah.
want people to be free to play on their desktop as
Yeah,
well.
it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's super cool. If there is any spare room, Demio, for Demio days, I'm totally in with playing with you.
For sure.
I think Bobby's going to be playing Euro Traveler Experience.
Yeah, I won't be playing anything. I'm going to France for 2 weeks, and I'm not even taking a laptop. So it's going to be an interesting experience. It'll be the longest I've ever gone without.
You should take a Steam Deck, Bobby.
I don't know, man. I kind of
I
want to see how
offered
this
mine.
goes. Maybe
Matt-
it'll be terrible, or maybe it'll be great. I'm not sure, but I'm going to kind of disconnect for a little while, and we'll see. We'll see
That's
how
going to
that
be a
goes.
wonderful story-driven base game that you'll be playing dude, in real
That's
life.
right.
That's going to be great, dude.
It's so
I'm
real.
excited for
Comes
you. That's the
back.
best
I really
kind
want
of
to play
story
Mass
game.
Effect.
Remember, you're an agent of chaos.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so
that
that's an
everybody?
episode, and then the next 2 weeks is going to be interviews, folks.
Looking forward to hearing them. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start from this point. I think we need not you, but we need to start taking notes because it's like we're gonna have 3 weeks,
Yeah.
2 weeks. At
A
Yeah.
least.
little journal.
Yeah,
3-week
It's gonna be a
journal.
a game
long,
journal.
long comeback.
All right. Speaking for John, Bob, Manda, Nick, sometimes Christian, and myself. I'm looking around. What?
Steam Deck titties.
Nah.
All right, whatever.
Bad tattoos. Titties.
Deck titties.
Bye, everybody. Deck titties. We talked about docking our decks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because he has a sleeve on his and I don't have one on mine. So
You're
I was
going
like,
out here sleeveless?
I was like, is your
Oh my-
sleeve going to fit over my deck?
My deck? Yeah.
Is your deck's sleeve
Just
going to
raw
fit over?
dogging your deck, dude?
Yeah. That's,
Oh my goodness.
No, I put a sleeve on before I let him touch it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, we're quick.
What a great way to end the episode.
That was the best piece of content we had in the whole thing.
All right, folks, I'm going to kill the stream. Thanks for sticking around. We will see you in 3 weeks.